What if everything you've been told about life, about success, about time, about who you are, was only a fragment of the truth? What if, just beneath the surface of what we call reality, there is a deeper operating system, one not driven by effort alone, but by energy, awareness, and alignment? Most of us grow up believing the same story. Work hard, be realistic, struggle first, and maybe, if you're lucky, some reward will arrive at the end. It's a script built from generations of survival, reinforced by systems that benefit from your conformity, and quietly anchored by a deeper, subtler force: your sense of what you think you deserve. But here's the fracture in that script. If it were truly universal, if it really worked for everyone, why do we see people who seem to effortlessly manifest abundance, love, opportunities, and joy, while others with equal or even greater effort remain stuck, tired, and unseen? There's a hidden variable most of us are not taught to look at. Not luck, not intelligence, not even discipline. It's consciousness. Consciousness isn't just awareness, it's the filter through which you interpret, attract, and create reality. And the more you wake up to it, the more you start seeing life not as a punishment or test, but as a deeply intimate reflection of your beliefs, your emotions, and your frequency. Imagine you're wearing a pair of sunglasses that tint everything slightly gray. You don't notice it because you've worn them since childhood. But one day, something shakes you. A heartbreak, a breakthrough, a moment of stillness, and for the first time, you take the glasses off. And suddenly, the world looks different. More colorful, more spacious, less rigid. This is what awakening feels like. You begin to notice how often you're chasing things, not because you want them, but because you believe you have to. That your worth is earned by productivity, that love must be proven, that joy is conditional. You start to see how often you try to control the outside world, people, timelines, outcomes, because deep down, you don't trust the inside world to be enough. And this is where quantum philosophy offers a radically liberating perspective. It whispers, what if the world isn't happening to you, but responding to you? Of course, this isn't an invitation to bypass responsibility. Quite the opposite. It's a call to radical responsibility, not for what happens, but for how you meet it, how you interpret it, how you vibrate through it. The quantum path begins not with doing, but with being. Not with trying harder, but with seeing clearer. And clarity comes when you ask deeper questions, questions that can unearth the unconscious programming running your life. Where in your life are you still chasing something you don't believe you deserve? When did you first learn that your dreams were too big? Whose voice plays in your head when you doubt your own magic? These aren't easy questions. They require courage. But courage is the gateway to freedom. Once you begin to notice the mental loops and emotional signatures that define your inner world, you start to realize that most of your limitations were inherited, not chosen. You absorb them from family, culture, trauma, and fear, but they are not your truth. And the moment you see them as optional, they begin to loosen their grip. This is the Great Awakening, the realization that the outer world is not the source of your creation. It's the echo. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the artist of vibration. And the brush you paint with is not your resume or your network or your bank account. It's your energy. It's your self-image. It's your willingness to feel worthy of beauty, even before it arrives. Because when you start shifting who you are being, not to earn something, but because you remember who you are, you'll find that life starts shifting around you. Sometimes slowly, sometimes in whispers, sometimes with earthquakes, but always with one purpose: to mirror back your belief in possibility. Let's step a little deeper now, past the boundaries of old assumptions, and into a reality you may have sensed but never fully understood. You were taught that the universe is mechanical, that it runs on cause and effect, time and distance, action and consequence. Drop a ball, it falls. Work hard, succeed. Think positive, and maybe good things come if you're lucky. But what if this mechanical view of the world was only one lens, a useful one for building bridges and measuring things, but completely inadequate for explaining you, your intuition, your dreams, your energy, your ability to imagine something that hasn't yet happened and somehow feel it into being? This is where quantum thought begins to offer an extraordinary framework, not just as science, but as a new lens for living. Quantum philosophy teaches that everything at its core is energy. Not solid, not fixed. Energy vibrating at different frequencies, collapsing into form when observed. That your focus, your observation, your expectation plays a role in shaping what appears. Now pause for a second. Don't let the science intimidate you. This isn't about math or physics equations. It's about relationship. The relationship between your inner state and your outer world. You see, we've long believed we are observers of reality, passive witnesses to whatever unfolds. But the quantum lens says otherwise. It tells us you are not just the observer. You are the participant. You're influencing the very fabric of what becomes real by how you show up to it. Your thoughts are not just echoes bouncing in your skull. They are frequencies. Your emotions are not just moods, they are signals. And your beliefs are not just stories, they are blueprints for how reality forms around you. If you believe you are unlucky, you'll unconsciously filter every experience to match that frequency. You'll ignore opportunities, expect disappointment, sabotage your wins. Not because the world is against you, but because your energetic posture is tuned to, "It's not for me." If you believe money is scarce, even abundance will feel unsafe. If you believe love is dangerous, you'll run from intimacy. If you believe dreams are reserved for others, you'll work 10 times harder and wonder why the magic never lands. This is not blame. This is not guilt. This is power. Because if your inner world is that influential, you are never truly stuck. You can begin to rewire the pattern, not through force, but through awareness. You begin asking different questions, not how do I fix my life, but what vibration am I embodying? Not why isn't it happening yet, but who am I being while I wait? Quantum creation is not about controlling outcomes, it's about aligning with possibilities. It's not about scripting every detail, it's about cultivating the emotional and energetic state that calls it in. It's like tuning a radio. The station you want, the joy, the love, the peace, it's already broadcasting. But you have to match the frequency to hear it. And the dial is your consciousness. Every time you move from fear to trust, you move closer to it. Every time you act from worthiness instead of desperation, you tune in clearer. Every time you let go of forcing and choose allowing, you step into resonance. This is where science meets soul. Where particles respond to intention, where fields of energy shift when you change your story, where the fabric of reality listens not just to your words but to your state of being. And yet we still resist, because change feels unsafe, because the old story is familiar, because somewhere deep down, many of us still carry a belief that says, if I really let go, if I really believe in something bigger, I'll be disappointed again. But what if that belief is the very thing keeping the doors closed? What if the universe isn't withholding, but simply waiting for your frequency to align? When you stop treating the world like a vending machine, press the right buttons, get the prize, and start relating to it as a mirror, a living conversation, a dance, everything begins to soften. You don't chase your dreams anymore. You become the version of yourself who naturally lives them. And in doing so, you collapse the distance between vision and reality. Not through magic, but through resonance. You are the field. You are the observer. You are the vibration. And your life is the canvas on which all of that is being reflected back to you. The moment you begin to see the outer world as a reflection of your inner world, a quiet but radical shift occurs. Suddenly, life stops feeling like an unpredictable tide pulling you in random directions. Instead, it becomes a mirror, sometimes gentle, sometimes brutally honest, but always revealing something within you. This is the essence of what many call entanglement, a beautiful metaphor borrowed from quantum physics, where particles once connected remain linked, even across vast distances. What happens to one affects the other, instantly, without regard for space or time. In our lives, it means that what we carry internally, our wounds, beliefs, fears, and longings, echoes out and touches the world around us. You've likely experienced it before. You're in a great mood, and somehow the right people, the right songs, the perfect little synchronicities just seem to line up. Or you wake up anxious, and the day seems to trip over itself. Emails lost, coffee spilled, miscommunications everywhere. Coincidence or resonance? What if the people you encounter, especially those who trigger you, are entangled with the parts of you you've yet to fully meet? What if every rejection was actually a reflection of your own doubts? What if every admirer was mirroring back a piece of your light you haven't owned yet? It's easy to accept the good reflections. She sees my potential. He appreciates me. But what about the hard ones? The ones that feel like criticism, abandonment, judgment? These too are part of the mirror. Not to blame you, but to awaken you. Life is not punishing you, it's responding to you. Always. There's a man who always falls into toxic relationships. He blames bad luck, manipulative partners, the timing, but beneath it all is a hidden belief. Love must be earned. So, unconsciously, he's attracted to people who withhold affection. Because it fits his narrative. It confirms the familiar pain. There's a woman who struggles to build her business. She works hard, follows every strategy, but nothing sticks. Deep down, she carries the belief, I'm not someone who succeeds. And so the universe mirrors that belief back, not to punish her, but to give her the choice to rewrite the story. Your life is not random, it's entangled with the meaning you give it. When you start to observe your world through this lens, everything becomes an opportunity. Not in a shallow, silver lining kind of way, but in a deeply empowering way. That rejection, it's revealing where you still seek validation. That delay, it's showing where you don't yet trust timing. That heartbreak, it's asking you to meet the part of yourself that's still waiting to be chosen from within. Of course, this work requires gentleness. It's not about analyzing every detail of your day and blaming yourself for every outcome. It's about listening. Listening to what life is trying to teach you about you. And when you listen deeply enough, you begin to notice patterns. Energetic loops that keep repeating. Not because you're cursed, but because they are unhealed. Unseen. Unloved. But here's the liberating truth. The moment you see the pattern, you're no longer trapped in it. Awareness is the first frequency shift. It's the crack in the lens through which new light can pour. Ask yourself, where do I keep encountering the same lesson over and over? What experience in my life keeps returning with a different face but the same feeling? And what belief might be quietly inviting that experience back in? This isn't always easy. Some realizations sting, but those are the ones that lead to freedom. Because the moment you choose to own your energy, your story, your vibration, you reclaim your creative power. You begin to see your relationships not as sources of fulfillment, but as reflections of your self-worth. You see your career not as a means of proving your value, but as an expression of it. You see your life not as something happening to you, but something blooming from within you. That's the power of the mirror. And once you stop fearing your reflection, you can start refining it, consciously, lovingly, with intention. Because you are not a random collection of thoughts reacting to the world. You are a field of awareness, dancing with a reality that's far more responsive, far more fluid than you've ever been told. And when you shift the energy you bring to the dance begins to change. So now we reach the threshold, the space between knowing and becoming. It's one thing to understand that reality mirrors your inner state, that your beliefs shape experience, that the universe is listening. But how do you live that truth? moment by moment, in a world that constantly tempts you to forget. This is where we meet the real work. Not the work of forcing outcomes, but the quieter, more courageous work of tuning your inner field. Imagine the universe as a great orchestra, a constant vibration of potentiality. Every note, every possibility, already exists. You are not creating outcomes from thin air. You are aligning with the frequency of the outcomes that already exist in the quantum field. You are the instrument. You are the conductor. And the quality of your inner state determines what melody you hear. This is why you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you say you want love but live in self-abandonment, your field sends out confusion. If you say you want abundance but act from scarcity, the signal is weak. If you dream of freedom but cling to control, the vibration is split. To manifest your dream life, you must become a match to it, not just in words, but in feeling, in thought, in behavior, in expectation. That's the tuning. And tuning begins with presence. You cannot tune from the past. You cannot manifest from a future you secretly doubt. You can only shift frequency now. What are you vibrating right now? Is it peace or urgency? Trust or anxiety? Worthiness or need? Presence is not passive, it's powerful. It's where you stop outsourcing your safety to circumstances and begin anchoring your energy in truth. From presence, you move to embodiment. This is where you stop performing worthiness and start living it. You make different choices, not because someone told you to, but because they are who you are now. The woman who once felt invisible starts dressing, walking, and speaking like someone who knows she belongs. Not for approval, but because she's done negotiating her light. The man who once feared rejection starts showing up vulnerably, even when it's messy. Not because he's fearless, but because his connection to self is stronger than the illusion of failure. Embodiment means you start living as if your desire is already true, not in delusion, but in energetic integrity. This doesn't mean pretending you're rich while drowning in debt. It means practicing the feelings of peace, sufficiency, and clarity now, so that when the external catches up, it finds you already stable. Think of it like training your nervous system to hold the reality you're calling in. If you can't feel safe with $100, how will you feel safe with $1 million? If you can't receive a compliment, how will you receive deep soul-level love? If you can't enjoy today, how will you ever enjoy tomorrow? This is the paradox of the quantum path. You create the future by feeling it now. Not to manipulate, but to merge with a version of yourself who already lives it. And that version of you is not far away. She is not a stranger. He is not a myth. They are already in the field, waiting, whispering, guiding. Your job is not to chase them. Your job is to remember them and allow who you are today to rise to meet them. This means releasing resistance. Releasing the stories that say it's not safe, not possible, not for you. Those stories were never yours. They were inherited, and they can be surrendered. Not by force, not by perfection, but by presence, choice, and repetition. Every time you pause and choose trust over fear, you tune. Every time you act from abundance instead of grasping, you tune. Every time you catch yourself in a spiral of I'm not enough and breathe instead of react, you tune. It's not always dramatic. Often it's subtle. But the field is always listening, always reflecting, always adjusting. And you'll start to notice things feel lighter. People respond differently. Opportunities find you without the old hustle. Why? Because you stopped trying to bend reality to your will and started flowing in rhythm with it. You tuned, and the music began to change. There's a moment in every transformation when the insights crystallize, not just in your mind, but in your bones. You feel it. Life no longer pulls you like a puppet on strings. It meets you like a partner in dialogue. You realize that manifesting your dream life isn't about accumulating things. It's about becoming the version of yourself who no longer waits for permission to feel fulfilled. And that's where the quantum path becomes your daily practice, not an occasional ritual, Not something you remember when things fall apart, but a way of being. A quiet devotion to staying awake in a world that seduces you to sleep. So how do you walk the quantum path each day? You begin by remembering. Your energy is your first language. Before you say a word, before you make a move, your vibration speaks. So the question becomes, what am I broadcasting today? Not just what do I want, but what do I believe? What do I expect? What am I available for? You wake up not rushing into obligation, but checking in with your state. Am I moving from lack or from love? Is this action aligned or just habitual? What would the version of me who already lives my dream life choose right now? And then you listen, not to the noise, but to the signal. You become more intimate with your body's cues. You notice when fear is running the show. You pause before reacting. You breathe before believing. You trust before proof appears. Some days that will feel easy. Other days resistance will scream. Old beliefs will try to pull you back into survival. That's okay. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to stay present. The old you hustled for love, approval, and success. The new you aligns with it. The old you tried to manipulate reality through force. The new you partners with it through coherence. Coherence means your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are all in harmony. When you say you want peace, you also cultivate peaceful thoughts. You make choices that protect your peace. You embody the energy of someone who already has peace. That's the difference between hoping and knowing, between manifesting from lack and manifesting from truth. Walking the quantum path is not a rejection of effort, it's the redefinition of it. You still take action, you still show up, but your action is rooted in inspiration, not desperation. You move not because you have to, but because your soul is whispering, this is who you are now. You become the person who no longer needs signs to believe. You believe, and the signs arrive. You become the person who stops waiting for a miracle, because you remember that you are one. And this remembering is your compass. It keeps you steady when the world gets loud. It reminds you that your value is not measured in metrics, but in presence. It allows you to stay soft in your heart and strong in your vision, even when circumstances suggest otherwise. Because the circumstances are not final, they are feedback. They are the temporary echoes of past frequencies. And as you shift, they shift. This is where you reclaim time. You stop measuring life by linear timelines. By 30, I should be here. By 40, I need to have that. You start feeling into divine timing, trusting that what is truly aligned cannot miss you. You stop rushing. You start receiving. You stop proving. You start embodying. And day by day, your external world rearranges, not because you forced it to, but because you became the version of yourself that it reflects. So as you move forward, ask yourself, what would it feel like to live each day as if your desires were already unfolding? What would shift if you stopped striving and started aligning? What would become possible if you trusted the field, trusted yourself, and stopped negotiating your magic? You are not here to hustle for your worth. You are here to radiate it. You are not here to chase dreams. You are here to merge with the version of you who already lives them. And when you do, when your inner world sings the song of who you truly are, the universe will rise to meet you, not as a prize, but as a mirror. You've walked through a new lens of reality, one not limited by old paradigms of control, effort, or lack, but illuminated by the quiet, powerful truth that you are a creator, a tuner of frequencies, a participant in the field of infinite potential. The quantum path to manifesting your dream life doesn't require you to become someone else. It invites you to remember who you've always been. This journey is not about chasing the future. It's about coming home to now, this moment, this breath, this choice. You already hold the brush. You already hold the vibration. The universe is listening, waiting, reflecting. So ask yourself, gently and honestly, what are you ready to receive now that you finally believe you're worthy of it? Let this be the beginning. The beginning of a new relationship with yourself, with the field, and with the life that's been calling you. Not someday, but today. If this resonated with you, I invite you to reflect below. Share what shifted, what you're calling in, what belief you're ready to release. And if you'd like to keep exploring this journey together, subscribe for more soulful guidance rooted in truth, power, and possibility. Because you're not alone on this path. You are part of the quantum field, and you are the spark within it.